Have you ever felt like your prayers hit an invisible ceiling? Like you're speaking into a divine void that never seems to answer back? What if I told you that the problem isn't that heaven isn't listening? It's that you've been speaking the wrong spiritual language your entire life. My friends, today we're diving into something so powerful that I have to begin with a warning. This prayer approach is only for those truly ready for overflow. The universe has established a direct spiritual hotline, specifically for you, waiting on hold since the day you were born. But here's the sacred truth that changed everything for me. This divine customer service department speaks a very specific language, and most of us have been ordering from the wrong menu our entire lives. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You pray fervently, you visualize, you affirm, yet the abundance seems to flow to everyone but you? I spent decades wondering why my spiritual connections seemed faulty until I discovered this ancient truth hidden in plain sight. While other spiritual teachers might offer you elaborate 30-day programs or complex manifestation rituals that leave you more confused than when you started, what I'm sharing today is different. This is spiritual espresso, concentrated, potent, and designed to activate your divine connection before your coffee gets cold. No fluff, no unnecessary steps, just the essential communication keys that unlock heaven's abundance. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn contradicts almost everything you've been taught about prayer and manifestation. This isn't about begging, pleading, or convincing a reluctant universe to bless you. It's about understanding the precise vibrational frequencies your words create and how the cosmos responds to them with absolute fidelity. Imagine having a direct line to the source of all abundance, but accidentally speaking a language it doesn't understand. That's what most of us have been doing. We've been inadvertently ordering lack while wondering why abundance never arrives at our doorstep. The divine forces aren't ignoring you. They're actually giving you exactly what you're ordering through your words. What you're about to discover might surprise you, especially when you realize how simple yet profound this shift in prayer language can be. 3 specific phrases hold the key to this transformation. 3 ordinary-looking combinations of words that, when properly understood and applied, become extraordinary conduits for miraculous overflow. The first of these phrases sounds deceptively simple, yet it functions as a spiritual password that unlocks divine abundance. When you understand how to properly use it, you'll witness a shift in your reality so tangible that even skeptics will wonder what changed in your life. If these divine communication principles resonated with you, subscribe now to access more spiritual wisdom that most teachers never reveal. Your journey to overflow is just beginning. That first phrase is, I am. These 2 simple words might seem ordinary, but they function as a direct hotline to the cosmic realm. And this is where most of us experience our first hidden revelation about prayer language. You see, while you've been worrying about the eloquence of your prayers, the universe has been meticulously recording every casual I am statement you've uttered throughout your day. Think about it. How many times have you unconsciously declared, I am broke, I am so tired, or I am always overlooked? These aren't just harmless observations about your temporary circumstances. In the divine economy, they function as powerful, spiritual contracts that instantly begin manifesting more of the same in your reality. Your words have been creating invisible barriers between you and the overflow that's been waiting for you all along. This isn't some mystical speculation. It's the fundamental architecture of consciousness itself. The universe operates with perfect precision, taking your negative confessions as direct orders for more limitation. This mindset transformation begins when you recognize that the cosmic forces don't understand context, excuses, or future intentions. When you say, I can't afford that, the universe doesn't hear your unspoken addition of right now, but someday. It only registers the declaration of lack and responds accordingly with more experiences of limitation. It's like walking into the most exclusive divine restaurant where everything on the menu is available to you, but ordering in a language that accidentally requests the exact opposite of what you truly desire. You think you're saying, "I want abundance," but your spiritual syntax is actually placing an urgent order for more scarcity. The journey toward overflow requires understanding these hidden spiritual grammar rules that govern manifestation. Most of us learned our prayer language from people who were just as confused as we were, passing down generation after generation of ineffective communication with the divine. Behind the scenes of your visible reality, every word you speak sets in motion vibrational frequencies that arrange circumstances, opportunities, and even physical matter to match your declarations. This isn't about wishful thinking or empty affirmations. It's about aligning your everyday speech with the overflow you desire to experience. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the secret timing that makes these word patterns exponentially more powerful. There are specific moments in your daily cycle when the veil between the seen and unseen realms becomes incredibly thin, allowing your declarations to bypass resistance and directly program your manifestation reality. But before I share that revelation, I'm curious, how many of you can already identify the negative phrases you've been unconsciously repeating? Write in the comments, "I'm catching myself," if you've already noticed some of these limiting declarations in your own speech patterns. Those specific moments I mentioned, right before you fall asleep and just as you wake up, are when your conscious mind relaxes its grip and your subconscious becomes incredibly receptive. But even more important than timing is understanding the profound impact your everyday language has on your reality. Here's the revelation that transformed my own spiritual journey. The universe maintains a perfect record of every word that leaves your mouth. Think of it as a divine archiving system that documents your every utterance with flawless precision. Not just your formal prayers or intentional affirmations, but every casual statement, every offhand remark, every frustrated exclamation. This cosmic record-keeping isn't about judgment, it's about manifestation. Your spoken words function as spiritual contracts that determine exactly what materializes in your physical experience. The moment you declare something, you're essentially signing a vibrational agreement that the universe is legally bound to fulfill. And this brings us to one of the most crucial mindset shifts required for accessing divine overflow. The universe interprets your words with absolute literalness. Unlike human conversations filled with nuance, implied meaning, and emotional context, the language of manifestation operates on precise vibrational frequencies. When you jokingly tell a friend, "I'm always the last to know everything," the universe doesn't register your sarcasm or the social context of your comment. It simply processes the declaration, "I'm always the last to know everything," and begins rearranging circumstances to ensure you continue receiving information last. Behind the scenes of your visible reality, these seemingly innocent statements are being processed as direct instructions for your life experience. The revelation here isn't just about being more positive, it's about recognizing the extraordinary creative power contained in your everyday speech. This explains why so many sincere spiritual seekers experience frustration. They might spend 20 minutes in formal prayer declaring abundance, then spend the rest of their day casually confirming limitation through unconscious speech patterns. The universe responds not to your intentions, but to your most consistent declarations. The transformation begins when you realize that divine forces take your words at face value, never interpreting your unspoken desires or contextual meanings. This isn't a punishment. It's simply how the spiritual technology of manifestation operates. Like any technology, once you understand its programming language, you can use it intentionally rather than accidentally. This brings us to the second powerful phrase in our overflow prayer language, a simple combination of words that activates a completely different manifestation pattern in your life. But first, I'd love to know, Has this explanation of how the universe processes your words created any aha moments for you? Drop a comment with light bulb moment if you're experiencing a revelation about your own speech patterns right now. That second powerful phrase is, I have. But before I reveal how it works, let me explain why your current speech patterns might be sabotaging your abundance. Consider what happens when you casually say, I'm broke. This isn't just a momentary observation of your bank account. It's a powerful declaration that sets specific manifestation mechanisms in motion. The universe doesn't interpret this statement as, I'm experiencing a temporary financial situation that will soon improve. It simply registers the vibrational frequency of I'm broke and begins aligning circumstances, opportunities, and resources to match that declaration. Your prayers of lack become self-fulfilling prophecies as spiritual forces respond to your words rather than your unspoken hopes. This is where the science behind manifestation reveals a fascinating breakthrough. Your brain contains something called the reticular activating system, a sophisticated filtering mechanism that determines what information from your environment reaches your conscious awareness. Think of it as your personal search engine for experiences. Whatever you consistently declare through your prayer language actually programs this perception system to notice either blessings or limitations. Tell it you're always struggling financially, and suddenly you'll become hyper-aware of every expense, every financial setback, and every instance where money flows out instead of in. Not because these are the only experiences available to you, but because your consciousness has been programmed to filter for them. Ready to master the language of abundance? Subscribe to join this community of conscious creators and discover more powerful declaration patterns that transform your reality. This revelation transforms our understanding of spiritual overflow. It's not just about changing your external circumstances, it's about reprogramming your internal reality filter. When you shift your declarations from lack to abundance, your perception system begins, highlighting different aspects of your experience that were always there but previously filtered out of your awareness. Tell your reticular activating system you're blessed financially, and suddenly you begin noticing unexpected discounts, overlooked resources, and new opportunities that were invisible to you before. This isn't magical thinking. It's how your consciousness naturally operates. Your words literally determine which aspects of reality become visible to you. The hidden truth is that both abundance and limitation exist simultaneously in your environment. Your consistent declarations don't create new realities. They determine which already existing reality becomes your dominant experience. This is why two people can face identical circumstances, yet have completely different perceptions of whether they're blessed or cursed. Your words function as a form of spiritual technology, programming the very filter through which you experience life. When you understand this mechanism, you realize that transforming your speech patterns isn't just positive thinking. It's consciously directing your perception system to highlight the abundance that's already present in your reality. Now, with this understanding of how your words program your perception, let me share how the phrase, I have, creates a completely different manifestation pattern in your life. But first, I'm curious. Have you noticed how your perception changes depending on what you're focused on? Comment with perception shift if you've experienced this reality filter in action. The phrase, I have, activates an entirely different spiritual mechanism. It initiates what I call the divine inventory system. You see, the universe operates like a cosmic Amazon Prime, efficiently delivering exactly what you order through your words. Your prayers function as spiritual purchase orders that divine forces fulfill with perfect efficiency. The revelation that transformed my own practice is understanding that this cosmic delivery service cannot interpret your unspoken desires. It doesn't read between the lines of your wishful thinking or decode your secret hopes. It simply processes the exact words you declare and delivers accordingly. When you say, I don't want to be poor, the universe registers the frequency of poor and prioritizes that delivery. It's like typing "not pizza" into a food delivery app and being shocked when pizza arrives at your door. The system simply isn't programmed to process negations. It focuses on the dominant vibration of your words. This understanding requires a profound mindset revolution. Most spiritual teachings focus on techniques and rituals, but the true catalyst for transformation begins with radical honesty, first with yourself, then in your communication with divine forces. Effective prayer isn't about eloquence or spiritual performance. It requires absolute truthfulness. You must align your heart and words in perfect harmony before spiritual overflow can manifest. This authentic alignment creates a coherent vibrational frequency that divine forces can respond to with precision. The journey behind the scenes of manifestation reveals that most people sabotage their blessings through unconscious contradictions. They pray for prosperity while internally believing in scarcity. They affirm healing while secretly expecting illness. These mixed signals create spiritual static that blocks clear reception of your desires. Here's where the hidden wisdom becomes practical. The universe has perfect emotional radar. You cannot stand in your empty apartment declaring, "I have abundance," while internally rolling your eyes and expect miracles. That's like trying to convince someone you're happy while visibly scowling. The energy simply doesn't match the words. Instead of forcing yourself to believe grand declarations that feel dishonest, start building your spiritual inventory with things that genuinely feel true. Find one thing you authentically have and appreciate, perhaps your ability to persist, your creativity, or even just the fact that you're healthy enough to watch this video. Begin there with what feels undeniably real to you. This practice of spiritual authenticity creates a foundation of integrity with the universe. Each time you acknowledge what you genuinely have and appreciate it, you're essentially telling the cosmic delivery system, "I received this order correctly, and I'd like more of the same, please." This confirmation bias becomes your secret weapon for accelerating manifestation. Now, as we explore the third powerful phrase that completes this spiritual communication system, I'd like to know, which aspect of your current prayer language do you think needs the most realignment? Comment with words before worlds if you're ready to transform your declarations to create new realities. The third powerful phrase in this divine communication system is, "I choose." But before we explore its transformative impact, let me reveal the full potency of the "I am" statements we discussed earlier. These two simple words function as a direct line to spiritual headquarters, with whatever follows becoming your immediate cosmic order. The revelation that changed everything in my spiritual journey was understanding that "I am" isn't just a descriptor, it's a creator. These two words activate instant manifestation of whatever follows them. When you declare, "I am blessed," you're not describing your current reality. You're literally instructing the universe to align all circumstances to match that declaration. Think of "I am" as the most powerful prayer introduction in the universe. It bypasses all spiritual bureaucracy and places your order directly with the cosmic fulfillment department. This is why mastering your "I am" declarations creates the fastest transformation in your experience. It's like having administrative access to the universal operating system. The breakthrough that created immediate results in my life came from implementing this simple but profound mindset shift. For just 24 hours, I committed to monitoring every "I am" statement that left my mouth. This awareness alone was revolutionary. I had no idea how many times daily I was unconsciously sabotaging my own blessings through careless declarations. I challenge you to try this one-day prayer experiment. Become a detective of your own language patterns. Every time you catch yourself saying "I am," followed by something you don't actually want more of, stop and consciously rephrase it. Instead of "I am so tired," try "I am recharging my energy." Instead of "I am broke," try "I am building my wealth." This isn't about denial or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about consciously choosing which aspects of your experience you want to expand. Your "I am" declarations are like spiritual fertilizer. Whatever you apply them to will grow. The question isn't whether this process works, It's whether you're using it intentionally or accidentally. The hidden truth behind manifestation is that you're already using this power every day, just not deliberately. Every time you casually declare, "I am overwhelmed," or "I am unlucky in relationships," you're placing cosmic orders that the universe is faithfully fulfilling. This isn't punishment. It's the perfect operation of spiritual laws that respond to your instructions. I know this approach sounds deceptively simple, but remember, simplicity is often the hallmark of profound truth. Learning to monitor and consciously choose your words is like training a new spiritual muscle. It takes consistency, patience, and gentle course correction when you inevitably slip back into old patterns. The journey of transformation isn't about achieving immediate perfection. It's about gradually increasing your awareness until new declarations become your natural spiritual language. Even catching yourself after a negative declaration is progress. It means your consciousness is awakening to the power of your words. Now, as we explore how the "I choose" declaration reclaims your spiritual authority in an entirely new dimension, I'd love to know, which negative "I am" statement do you catch yourself saying most frequently? Comment breaking the pattern, followed by the specific declaration you're committed to transforming. Your awareness is already the first step toward your overflow. Let's explore the extraordinary power of the second prayer phrase, "I have." This declaration activates a completely different dimension of spiritual manifestation. While "I am" establishes your identity in the cosmos, "I have" takes spiritual inventory of your current blessings and initiates their multiplication. The profound revelation here is that acknowledging what you already possess isn't just gratitude, it's a cosmic investment strategy. When you declare, "I have loving relationships," or "I have creative ideas," you're essentially activating the spiritual law of increase. This universal principle ensures that whatever you authentically acknowledge multiplies in your experience. Think about the mindset shift this requires. Most people spend their prayer time focusing on what's missing, essentially taking inventory of their lack. But spiritual wisdom reveals that gratitude isn't just a nice sentiment. It's the actual seed that triggers multiplication. What you appreciate, appreciates. Here's where many spiritual seekers encounter a critical roadblock. You cannot fake belief in your prayers and expect genuine results. Divine forces operate on vibrational coherence, meaning your emotional state must match your declarations. If you're standing in an empty apartment declaring, "I have abundance," while feeling bitter about your bank account, the universe detects this misalignment instantly. The hidden truth behind effective manifestation is that spiritual forces respond to emotional authenticity, not wishful thinking. Your prayers must emerge from genuine faith, even if that faith starts small. This doesn't mean you need blind confidence in grand outcomes, but rather honest appreciation for what genuinely feels true to you right now. This revelation transformed my approach to spiritual practice. Instead of forcing myself to believe sweeping declarations that felt dishonest, I began building my "I have" muscle with things I could genuinely acknowledge. I have creativity, I have persistence, I have the ability to learn. These modest but authentic declarations created a foundation of integrity with the universe. The breakthrough comes when you understand that divine forces detect insincerity instantly. This isn't punishment. It's simply how spiritual technology operates. Like any sophisticated system, it requires clear, consistent input to produce reliable output. Alignment between heart and words isn't just preferable for overflow, it's essential. This explains why identical prayers produce dramatically different results for different people. The words might be the same, but the vibrational frequencies generated by their emotional states create entirely different spiritual orders. Your feeling state is the hidden signature that authenticates your declarations to the universe. The journey toward mastery begins with radical honesty about where you truly are. Find one thing, even something small, that you can genuinely acknowledge having. Perhaps it's resilience, perhaps it's creativity, perhaps it's simply the willingness to grow. Start there, with what feels undeniably true, and watch as that seed of authenticity begins expanding into broader areas of your life. Now, as we explore how the timing of these declarations dramatically accelerates their manifestation, I'm curious, what's one blessing you can genuinely acknowledge right now without any doubt or hesitation? Comment, "I authentically have," and complete that phrase with something that resonates as absolutely true for you. The timing we discussed earlier, those twilight states, right before sleep and just after waking, amplifies these declarations dramatically. But even more important is the strategy of starting small. This mindset revelation transformed my entire approach to spiritual practice. Begin with genuinely believable declarations to build your spiritual credibility before expanding to larger manifestations. Think of your relationship with the universe as a trust-building journey. If you've spent years unconsciously declaring limitation, you can't suddenly jump to grandiose proclamations and expect immediate results. Divine forces respond to authenticity, and building that authentic faith requires a progressive approach. Begin your overflow prayers with what you can honestly believe. Perhaps you can't yet believe I have abundant wealth, but you might genuinely acknowledge I have the capacity to learn new skills, or I have creative ideas that could generate income. These modest but authentic declarations create small victories that gradually expand your capacity for faith. The breakthrough comes when you understand that small, faithful prayers answered build confidence for greater manifestations. Each authentic "I have" declaration that manifests visible results becomes evidence that strengthens your belief system. This evidence-based approach creates a virtuous cycle where each small manifestation expands your capacity to believe in larger possibilities. This progressive journey leads naturally to the third powerful prayer phrase, "I choose." This declaration fundamentally transforms your relationship with circumstances by reclaiming your spiritual authority. While "I am" establishes identity and "I have" acknowledges possession, "I choose" activates your divine sovereignty. The revelation that changed everything in my practice was understanding that most people surrender their spiritual authority through unconscious language patterns. When you say, "This always happens to me," or "I have no choice," you're essentially abdicating your creative power and positioning yourself as a victim of circumstances rather than their author. "I choose" prayers interrupt this pattern by consciously declaring your spiritual agency. Instead of "This always happens to me," try "I choose to see this as an opportunity." Instead of "I have no choice," try "I choose to find a solution." These declarations activate your divine birthright as a co-creator with the universe. The mindset transformation happens when you realize that circumstances don't determine your experience. Your interpretation of them does. And that interpretation is always a choice, even when it doesn't feel like one. Behind the scenes of your visible reality, every experience contains multiple possible meanings, and your "I choose" declarations determine which meaning becomes your dominant reality. The universe responds powerfully to those who take responsibility through these sovereign declarations, rather than positioning themselves as helpless victims. Divine forces recognize the spiritual maturity in someone who declares "I choose" and immediately align circumstances to support that conscious creation. This journey from unconscious victim to conscious creator represents the fundamental mindset shift required for sustained spiritual overflow. Now, as we explore how to combine these three powerful phrases into a comprehensive manifestation strategy, I'd love to know, what's one circumstance in your life that you're ready to reinterpret? Through the lens of "I choose"? Comment, claiming my authority, if you're ready to transform your relationship with challenging situations. This partnership with spiritual forces through "I choose" declarations represents the most profound transformation in the manifestation journey. The universe responds with extraordinary power to those who take responsibility through their words rather than positioning themselves as victims of circumstance. It's a fundamental shift from spiritual dependency to spiritual co-creation. Think about the energy behind these different approaches. When your prayers express personal responsibility rather than helplessness, they attract immediate divine attention. It's like the difference between sending out a desperate SOS versus proposing a strategic partnership. Both might get a response, but the quality and sustainability of that response differ dramatically. The revelation that changed my entire relationship with manifestation was understanding that taking ownership creates true partnership with spiritual forces. The universe doesn't want dependent children begging for rescue. It seeks mature co-creators who understand their role in the manifestation process. Your "I choose" declarations signal this spiritual maturity. Behind the scenes of visible reality, divine forces are constantly searching for those who comprehend this partnership dynamic. When you declare, "I choose to see opportunity in this challenge," rather than, "Why does this always happen to me?" you essentially upgrade your spiritual account from basic to premium access. The universe responds accordingly with accelerated manifestation. Now, let me reveal the hidden wisdom about timing that exponentially amplifies these declarations. The most effective moments for these prayers are upon waking and before sleeping, when your subconscious mind is most receptive. These twilight states of consciousness represent spiritual gateways where the veil between worlds thins considerably. The breakthrough understanding is that your conscious mind, with all its doubts, criticisms, and analytical resistance, takes a temporary break during these transitions. Your morning and evening declarations bypass this resistance and directly program the divine delivery system without interference. Think of it as having privileged access to the cosmic control room during these specific windows. Your subconscious mind, which maintains direct connection to universal intelligence, becomes accessible during these twilight states. The declarations you make in these moments embed themselves more deeply into your belief system, creating profound shifts in your manifestation patterns. This timing strategy revolutionized my approach to spiritual practice. Instead of scattered affirmations throughout the day that constantly battled my conscious doubts, I focused intense attention on these twilight state declarations. The results were immediately noticeable. Manifestations that previously took months began appearing in weeks or days. The mindset transformation happens when you realize that these aren't just convenient times to pray. They're strategic windows of opportunity where spiritual technology operates with maximum efficiency. Your morning declarations essentially program your reticular activating system for the day ahead, determining which opportunities become visible to you. Your evening declarations process the day's experiences and set manifestation in motion while you sleep. This strategic approach transforms haphazard spirituality into intentional creation. Now, as we explore how to combine these three powerful phrases with specific emotional frequencies that accelerate manifestation even further, I'm curious. Have you noticed different results when praying at different times of day? Comment, "Twilight Revelation," if you've experienced the power of these consciousness gateways in your own practice. The emotional frequency that accompanies these declarations functions as the hidden catalyst for manifestation. But before we explore that dimension, let me address the most common obstacle people encounter when implementing this approach. Though this prayer method seems deceptively simple, consistent practice requires significant discipline and patience. The transformation journey reveals a counterintuitive truth. The simplicity of this prayer system actually belies its extraordinary power. Most spiritual seekers have been conditioned to believe that effective techniques must be complex, esoteric, or difficult to master. But the most profound spiritual technologies often operate through elegantly simple mechanisms. The real challenge lies not in complexity, but in the consistency required to reprogram long-established thought patterns. Think about it. You've likely been speaking the language of limitation for decades. Your neural pathways have been deeply grooved through years of unconscious declarations. Rewiring these patterns isn't complicated, but it does require persistent mindfulness. The revelation that changed my entire approach was understanding that spiritual transformation operates like physical fitness. It's not about intensity, but consistency. A person who does moderate exercise daily for a year will outperform someone who exercises intensely once a month. Similarly, daily practice of these declaration principles, even imperfectly, creates more profound shifts than occasional perfect implementation. Behind the scenes of your visible reality, every consistent declaration gradually rewires your subconscious programming. Each time you catch and correct a limiting statement, you're not just changing words. You're literally creating new neural pathways that eventually become your default mode of thinking. This brings us to perhaps the most liberating revelation in this entire journey. The universe isn't testing your worthiness. It has never questioned your deservingness of abundance. Divine overflow has been available to you since the moment of your creation. The only barrier has been unclear communication about what you truly desire to receive. The mindset breakthrough happens when you realize that spiritual forces aren't withholding blessings until you prove yourself worthy. They're simply waiting for clear, consistent communication about your desires. Like a cosmic restaurant with infinite menu options, the universe can only deliver what you specifically order. This understanding dissolves the toxic belief that you must somehow earn abundance through spiritual performance or moral perfection. The universe doesn't operate on a reward-punishment system. It functions through vibrational resonance. When your declarations consistently align with abundance frequencies, abundance naturally flows toward you as a matter of spiritual physics, not divine judgment. The hidden truth that transformed my journey was recognizing that the universe's only requirement is clarity. When your words, emotions, and beliefs align in consistent communication, divine forces respond with remarkable efficiency, not because you finally earned their approval, but because you finally provided clear directions they can fulfill. This revelation places the power firmly back in your hands. Your consistent declarations aren't convincing a reluctant universe to bless you. They're programming an eager delivery system that has been waiting for clear instructions. Now, as we explore the specific 7-day practice that activates all 3 declaration principles simultaneously, I'm curious, did this perspective shift your understanding of divine worthiness? Comment, "Already worthy," if you're experiencing freedom from the need to earn your abundance. Now let me share the practical framework that turns these spiritual principles into tangible results. For maximum transformation, commit to focusing intensely on these 3 prayer phrases: I am, I have, and I choose, for 7 consecutive days. This time frame isn't arbitrary. 7 days represents a complete cycle in many spiritual traditions, a perfect container for initiating profound recalibration. Think of this 7-day prayer intensive as a spiritual reset button. By consistently programming your subconscious with these 3 declaration patterns, you create a completely new, vibrational blueprint for your life. Each day builds upon the previous, creating a momentum that continues expanding even after the initial week. Concludes. The revelation that changed everything in my journey was understanding that this sacred week creates a complete cycle of manifestation activation. The first 3 days often involve increased awareness of negative patterns. You'll likely catch yourself in limiting declarations more frequently. Days 4 through 6 typically bring a sense of neutrality as old patterns begin dissolving. And by day 7, many people experience spontaneous, positive declarations emerging naturally. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, this consistent practice is literally rewiring your default thought patterns. Your brain, which operates largely on habitual neural pathways, begins creating new connections that eventually become your automatic response to circumstances. What initially requires conscious effort gradually becomes your natural mindset. Here's the breakthrough understanding that removes the biggest obstacle most people face. You don't need to fully believe in this approach for it to work. Faith isn't the prerequisite for transformation. It's the product of it. All that's required is your consistent participation in the practice, even if accompanied by skepticism. This mindset shift liberates you from the paralyzing need for perfect belief before taking action. Instead of waiting until you're absolutely convinced, simply begin praying this way as a spiritual experiment. Your belief will naturally develop as you witness results manifesting in your experience. Evidence creates conviction far more effectively than abstract concepts. The journey of transformation reveals a counterintuitive truth. In spiritual practice, action often precedes belief rather than following it. This is why many people remain stuck. They're waiting to feel complete faith before beginning, not realizing that faith grows through experience, not intellectual agreement. Think of it like learning to swim. You don't develop confidence in your ability to float before entering the water. You develop it by actually experiencing buoyancy. Similarly, you don't need complete confidence in these declaration principles before practicing them. The practice itself generates the evidence that builds your faith. The hidden wisdom in this approach is that the universe doesn't require your belief. It responds to your participation. Like gravity, which operates whether you believe in it or not, these spiritual principles function based on consistent application rather than perfect faith. Your words create vibrational frequencies that divine forces respond to regardless of your conscious skepticism. Now, as we explore the specific emotional frequencies that exponentially accelerate manifestation when combined with these declarations, I'm wondering, which of these phrases resonates most powerfully with you right now? Comment, "My power phrase," followed by either "I am," "I have," or "I choose" to share which declaration you feel most drawn to implement first. The emotional frequency that truly activates these declarations is genuine appreciation, not forced gratitude, but authentic recognition of value. But before we explore that dimension, let me share perhaps the most compelling revelation of this entire journey. The universe is literally preparing to deliver according to your prayer language at this very moment. This isn't mystical speculation. It's the fundamental mechanism of consciousness itself. Right now, as you're watching this video, spiritual forces are awaiting your next declaration. The Cosmic Fulfillment Department is standing by, order form in hand, ready to process your specific instructions. The question isn't whether overflow is available to you. It's what you will consciously choose to declare from this moment forward. Think about the profound implications of this understanding. The abundance you've been seeking isn't locked behind some spiritual achievement or located in some distant future. It's prepared and ready to respond to your conscious prayer choices right now. This very second contains all the potential you could ever need for complete transformation. The breakthrough that changed everything in my practice was recognizing that small changes in prayer language create massive shifts in manifested reality. We've been conditioned to believe that significant transformation requires dramatic action, but spiritual technology operates through precision, not volume. Minute adjustments in your declarations initiate exponential changes in your experience because they alter the fundamental vibrational blueprint from which your reality manifests. It's like changing a single digit in a computer code that generates an entire virtual world. That small modification creates cascade effects throughout the entire system. Behind the scenes of your visible experience, these subtle declaration shifts ripple outward, affecting seemingly unrelated aspects of your life. A person who begins consistently declaring, "I am guided," might suddenly notice new opportunities, unexpected solutions, and synchronistic encounters that were always available but previously filtered out of their awareness. The journey toward mastery reveals this counterintuitive truth. The power lies in precision, not volume. A single clear declaration, consistently maintained, creates more profound transformation than hours of scattered, inconsistent prayers. This is why many spiritual seekers experience frustration. They're constantly changing their declarations based on momentary emotions rather than maintaining clear, consistent vibrational signals. Think of it like tuning a radio. Rapidly spinning the dial between stations creates nothing but static, while maintaining a precise frequency allows clear reception. Similarly, consistently declaring, "I am abundant," creates a clear channel for abundance to flow, while constantly shifting between "I am abundant" and "I am struggling" produces manifestation static. The hidden wisdom in this approach is understanding that spiritual technology operates through quantum principles rather than linear cause-effect relationships. In quantum reality, observation affects outcomes, and your declarations are essentially conscious observations of specific possibilities you wish to experience. Each precise declaration collapses infinite potential into specific manifestation. Now, as we explore how to combine these three declaration patterns into a comprehensive daily practice that creates sustainable transformation, I'm curious, what one precise declaration do you feel would create the most profound shift in your current experience if consistently maintained? Comment, quantum shift, followed by the specific declaration you're committing to maintain with precision. Let me share with you the revelation that completely transformed my understanding of why traditional prayer often feels ineffective. For years, I watched people pray fervently, with genuine tears, deep emotion, and absolute sincerity, yet walk away feeling unheard and unseen by divine forces. The missing element wasn't their devotion or worthiness, it was precision. Traditional prayer approaches often miss the exact language patterns that activate divine response systems. It's like having the world's most powerful smartphone, but not knowing the correct password to unlock it. The technology works perfectly, but the user interface remains inaccessible due to imprecise access codes. Many spiritual seekers have prayed with complete dedication, but used language patterns that cosmic forces cannot properly process, leaving blessings perpetually undelivered. They're essentially speaking a dialect that divine intelligence doesn't recognize, creating a translation gap between their desires and manifestation. The mindset breakthrough comes when you realize that spiritual technology operates through specific vibrational frequencies rather than emotional intensity. It's not about how desperately you want something or how many hours you spend in prayer. It's about whether your declarations create clear, consistent signals that divine forces can respond to. Behind the scenes of effective manifestation, this concise prayer method works more efficiently than lengthy spiritual practices that often create confusion. Many traditions teach elaborate rituals, complex visualizations, and extended affirmations that actually dilute the clarity of your vibrational signal rather than strengthening it. The hidden wisdom reveals that spiritual confusion dissipates when you employ direct, clear prayer language that divine forces can immediately understand and fulfill. Think of it like ordering at a restaurant. A simple, precise order gets delivered correctly, while a complicated, contradictory one creates kitchen confusion and delayed or incorrect delivery. This perspective shift challenges everything we've been taught about effective spiritual practice. We've been conditioned to believe that more is better, more words, more emotion, more time. But the quantum breakthrough in manifestation reveals that clarity and precision create far more powerful results than elaboration and complexity. The journey toward mastery reveals this counterintuitive truth. The universe responds more readily to 3 precise declarations consistently maintained than to hours of scattered, unfocused prayer. This understanding transforms your spiritual practice from a time-consuming obligation into a strategic, efficient communication system. Think about the profound implications for your spiritual evolution. The time you've spent in lengthy, complex rituals could be replaced with brief, precisely calibrated declarations that create exponentially more powerful results. This isn't about diminishing devotion. It's about focusing it with laser precision. The revelation that changed everything in my practice was understanding that divine intelligence processes information differently than human consciousness. While humans value elaboration and emotional context, spiritual forces respond to clear vibrational frequencies that can be generated in seconds rather than hours. Now, as we explore the specific practice framework that combines all 3 declaration patterns into a comprehensive manifestation system, I'm curious, How does this understanding of spiritual precision change your perspective on prayer effectiveness? Comment, precision revelation, if you're recognizing how clarity might transform your manifestation results. Here's where the deeper understanding of manifestation mechanics becomes truly transformative. Each negative statement you've habitually spoken, even those casual, seemingly harmless comments about your circumstances, has been actively programming your spiritual reality. These aren't just words evaporating into the air. They're powerful vibrational instructions being meticulously recorded and fulfilled. Your offhand remarks like, "I never have enough time," or "good things always happen to other people," have functioned as anti-prayers, systematically dismantling the abundance that's been trying desperately to reach you. Think of these negative declarations as spiritual cancellation notices, essentially telling the universe to stop delivery on the blessings already en route to your experience. The mindset breakthrough comes when you realize these casual negative confessions aren't just describing your reality, they're creating it. Each time you declare limitation, you're essentially placing a cosmic block on the abundance trying to flow toward you. This isn't punishment. It's the perfect operation of spiritual laws responding to your specific instructions. Behind the scenes of your visible circumstances, these negative declarations establish vibrational boundaries that divine forces cannot cross. It's not that the universe isn't trying to deliver abundance. It's that your own words have created barriers that even spiritual forces must respect. Your free will, expressed through declarations, takes precedence over divine intention. Understanding universal spiritual laws requires learning an entirely new language pattern that aligns with divine delivery systems. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about mastering spiritual linguistics to communicate clearly with the forces that manifest physical reality from spiritual substance. Think of it as learning to speak quantum rather than linear. Most of us have been taught to communicate in cause-effect patterns. When this happens, then I'll be happy, or after I achieve this, then I'll feel successful. But manifestation operates through state-based linguistics. I am happy now, and I am successful now. This present tense declaration creates quantum collapse of potential into experience. The revelation that transformed my entire approach was understanding that mastering spiritual linguistics allows you to communicate directly with the intelligence that converts invisible potential into visible manifestation. Your declarations aren't just descriptions, they're creation codes that the universe translates into physical experience. This perspective shift fundamentally alters your relationship with reality itself. You're no longer a passive observer describing what you see. You're an active creator determining what becomes visible through your specific declarations. This isn't mystical thinking. It's understanding the mechanics of consciousness as the fundamental substrate of all physical experience. The journey toward mastery reveals this hidden truth. Your primary creative power isn't action, but declaration. While action certainly matters, it's your declarations that establish the vibrational foundation from which all effective action emerges. Trying to create abundance through action while maintaining scarcity declarations is like trying to build a mansion on quicksand. Now, as we explore the specific practice framework that combines these 3 declaration patterns into your daily life, I'm curious, what negative statement have you been habitually declaring that you now recognize as an anti-prayer? Comment, breaking the spell, if you've identified specific declarations that have been blocking your abundance. Let me reveal the quantum mechanics behind this manifestation process. Every word you speak isn't just sound vibrating through air. It's a specific frequency signature that ripples through the spiritual dimension of reality. Your declarations generate precise vibrational instructions that the universe follows with absolute fidelity, arranging particles and circumstances to match the exact pattern you've established. Think about the profound implications of this understanding. Your words aren't just describing your experience, they're literally programming the quantum field from which all physical matter emerges. This isn't mystical speculation. It's aligning with cutting-edge science, showing that observation affects the behavior of subatomic particles, the very building blocks of our reality. The revelation that transformed my entire journey was recognizing that these vibrational frequencies don't just influence your circumstances, they determine which version of infinite possible realities becomes your dominant experience. In quantum understanding, multiple potential realities exist simultaneously, and your declarations essentially collapse these possibilities into specific manifestations. Behind the scenes of your visible experience, this process operates with extraordinary precision. When you declare, "I am always overlooked," you're not just describing a feeling. You're instructing the universe to arrange particles and circumstances to create scenarios where you consistently experience being overlooked. The universe isn't punishing you. It's faithfully fulfilling your vibrational instructions. Now, here's where the mastery dimension emerges. The universe responds even more powerfully to the emotional energy behind your words than to the words themselves. The feeling tone of your declarations carries significantly more manifestation power than mere vocabulary. This explains why two people can say identical phrases yet experience dramatically different results. Think of it like the difference between a recorded song and a live performance. The notes might be identical, but the emotional resonance of the live experience creates a completely different impact. Similarly, declarations, made with genuine emotional conviction, create exponentially more powerful manifestation than those recited mechanically. The mindset breakthrough comes when you realize that spiritual forces detect the subtle emotional frequencies behind your words with perfect accuracy. You cannot fake enthusiasm or belief. The universe essentially feels the authentic vibration underlying your declarations and responds accordingly. This understanding revolutionizes your approach to spiritual practice. Rather than forcing yourself to make grand declarations that feel emotionally discordant, start with modest statements that genuinely resonate with your current emotional state. A simple, "I am open to seeing abundance today," spoken with authentic curiosity, creates more manifestation power than an elaborate prosperity affirmation recited with underlying doubt. The transformation journey reveals this hidden wisdom. Emotional alignment isn't just helpful for manifestation, it's essential. Your feelings function as the activation code that brings your declarations to life in the quantum field. Without emotional resonance, words remain dormant potential rather than active creation. Now, as we explore how to consciously cultivate specific emotional frequencies that exponentially accelerate manifestation, I'm curious, have you noticed how the same words spoken in different emotional states create entirely different results in your life? Comment, "Emotional alchemy," if you've experienced how your feeling state transforms the power of your words. Let me reveal what's happening at the neurological level when you make these powerful declarations. Your brain contains an extraordinary filtering mechanism called the reticular activating system. This sophisticated neural network determines which of the millions of potential stimuli in your environment actually reaches your conscious awareness. It's essentially your reality's gatekeeper, and your declarations program exactly what it allows. Through, think about the profound implications of this understanding. Your prayer language isn't just speaking to the universe, it's literally programming your perception system to either notice evidence of blessing everywhere or confirm the absence of what you desire. This isn't mystical thinking, it's neurological fact validated by cognitive science. When you consistently declare, "Nothing ever works out for me," your reticular activating system dutifully filters your experience to highlight every setback, every disappointment, and every confirmation of this belief. Not because these are the only experiences available to you, but because your declarations have programmed your perception to specifically seek evidence that validates your limiting belief. The mindset transformation happens when you recognize that both abundance and limitation exist simultaneously in your environment. Your declarations don't create new circumstances. They determine which already existing circumstances become visible to your consciousness. This explains why two people can experience identical situations, yet walk away with completely different perceptions of whether they're blessed or cursed. Behind the scenes of your visible experience, this filtering mechanism operates with extraordinary precision. When you declare, "I am always supported," your reticular activating system begins highlighting evidence of support that was always present but previously filtered out of your awareness. You suddenly notice resources, opportunities, and assistance that were invisible to you before. Now, here's where many spiritual seekers encounter a critical roadblock. Wishful thinking without aligned declaration creates spiritual confusion rather than manifestation. Hoping for abundance while declaring lack creates contradictory instructions that essentially cancel each other out, preventing overflow from reaching you. The revelation that transformed my entire approach was understanding that this creates spiritual static, like trying to tune into two radio stations simultaneously. Hoping for financial abundance while constantly declaring, "I can't afford that," generates conflicting frequencies that the universe cannot process clearly. It's not that spiritual forces don't want to deliver, it's that they're receiving mixed signals about what you actually desire. Think of it like ordering at a restaurant and telling the server, "I don't want the chicken," while secretly hoping they'll bring you chicken anyway. Without a clear, direct order for what you do want, the kitchen remains confused about what to prepare. Similarly, your negative declarations override your unspoken positive hopes in the spiritual realm. This understanding transforms your approach to manifestation from passive wishing to active declaration. Instead of hoping things improve while continuing negative declarations, consciously align your words with your desires, regardless of current circumstances. This creates the coherent vibrational signature that divine forces can respond to with precision. Now, as we explore the most powerful emotional frequencies to combine with these declarations, I'm curious, have you noticed how your perception filters either blessings or limitations based on what you're consistently declaring? Comment, "filter shift," if you're recognizing how your declarations have been programming your reality filter all along. Let me reveal why this approach creates such profound results with such apparent simplicity. This three-word prayer system, "I am," "I have," and "I choose," isn't new or revolutionary. It's actually ancient wisdom distilled into practical daily declarations that anyone can implement. Throughout history, spiritual masters across traditions have understood these fundamental principles, though they've often been buried beneath complex theological frameworks or reserved for spiritual initiates. Think about the revelation this represents in your spiritual journey. The most profound transformation often comes not from adding more complexity, but from stripping away everything except the essential. These three prayer phrases create a practical spiritual technology that makes cosmic principles accessible to anyone seeking overflow, regardless of background, education, or previous spiritual experience. The mindset breakthrough comes when you recognize that these aren't just affirmations. They're activation keys that unlock specific dimensions of spiritual reality. "I am" establishes identity, "I have" acknowledges possession, and "I choose" reclaims authority. Together, they address the three fundamental aspects of consciousness required for complete manifestation. Behind the scenes of effective spiritual practice, this system operates like quantum computing rather than linear processing. Instead of requiring hours of ritual or complex visualizations, these three phrases create immediate vibrational alignment between your consciousness and divine intelligence. This alignment becomes the direct pathway through which abundance flows. But transformation cannot begin without honest assessment of your current prayer language and its results. This requires a level of radical self-awareness that many spiritual teachings skip entirely. Before implementing new declaration patterns, take inventory of what you've been unconsciously declaring and the circumstances those declarations have created. The revelation that changed everything in my journey was understanding that spiritual inventory reveals the direct correlation between your habitual declarations and your current circumstances. This isn't about blame or shame. It's about recognizing the perfect operation of spiritual laws that have been responding to your instructions with flawless precision. Think of it like examining your credit card statement. You might be shocked to discover where your money has been going, but that awareness becomes the essential first step in redirecting your resources. Similarly, becoming aware of your unconscious declarations reveals where your spiritual energy has been flowing, allowing you to consciously redirect it toward what you truly desire. This inventory process often reveals profound insights about your hidden beliefs. Many people discover they've been unconsciously declaring limitation while consciously desiring abundance, a contradiction that creates spiritual gridlock. Others realize they've been declaring unworthiness while seeking love, or powerlessness while seeking change. The transformation journey reveals this hidden truth. Your circumstances aren't random accidents or divine punishment. They're the perfect reflection of your most consistent declarations. This understanding places the creative power back in your hands, revealing that you've been manifesting precisely according to your instructions all along. Now, as we explore how to combine these 3 prayer phrases with specific implementation strategies for different areas of your life, I'm curious, what surprising correlation have you noticed between your habitual declarations and your current circumstances? Comment, mirror moment, if you're recognizing how your words have been creating your reality all along. Let me address something you might be experiencing as you consider implementing these declaration principles. When you first begin practicing these new prayer patterns, they might feel awkward or inauthentic, almost like speaking a foreign language. This initial discomfort isn't a sign that the approach doesn't work for you. It's simply part of the natural learning curve that accompanies any significant transformation. Think about your experience learning any new skill. Whether it was driving a car, learning an instrument, or mastering a sport, your initial attempts likely felt mechanical and required conscious attention to every movement. But with consistent repetition, what once demanded intense focus gradually became second nature. Spiritual muscle memory develops through the same process of deliberate practice. The revelation that changed everything in my journey was understanding that what feels foreign initially becomes your natural prayer language with persistence. Your brain physically creates new neural pathways through consistent declaration patterns, eventually making these new thought forms your default mode of thinking. The awkwardness isn't a barrier to overcome. It's actually evidence that real rewiring is taking place. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, this persistence creates a profound identity shift. The declarations that initially felt like affirmations gradually transform into authentic expressions of your evolving self-concept. What began as conscious practice becomes unconscious pattern, fundamentally altering how you perceive yourself and your relationship with abundance. Now, let's explore the extraordinary power of the I have declaration in greater depth. Each time you acknowledge what you already possess, whether tangible resources or intangible qualities, you're not just practicing gratitude as a nice sentiment. You're simultaneously placing a cosmic order for multiplication of those specific blessings. The mindset breakthrough comes when you realize these gratitude-based prayers function as spiritual investment strategies, generating returns on what you've already received. Just as financial investments create compound interest over time, your I have declarations create compound manifestation, expanding your blessings through conscious acknowledgement. Think of it like tending a garden. When you acknowledge and appreciate the flowers already blooming, you create optimal conditions for more seeds to germinate. Your attention to current blessings creates the fertile soil from which greater abundance naturally emerges. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the fundamental principle of expansion through appreciation. The journey toward mastery reveals this hidden wisdom. The universe operates on confirmation bias. When you acknowledge what's working in your life, divine forces assume you want more of the same and begin aligning circumstances to match that frequency. Your I have declarations essentially program the cosmic algorithm to prioritize similar experiences in your reality. This understanding transforms spiritual practice from desperate pleading to conscious co-creation. Instead of begging for what's missing, you're strategically acknowledging what's present, creating an upward spiral of expanding abundance. The pathway to receiving more begins with genuinely appreciating what you already have. Now, as we explore the specific emotional frequencies that exponentially accelerate these declarations, I'm curious, what's one blessing you've been taking for granted that deserves conscious acknowledgement through an I have declaration? Comment appreciation activated if you're recognizing blessings that have been quietly supporting you all along. Let me address a fundamental distinction that transforms this approach from superstition into spiritual science. Authenticity in prayer connects you with genuine spiritual power rather than magical thinking. Many seekers get trapped in the idea that simply repeating phrases without internal alignment will somehow manipulate reality. But this mechanical approach creates the opposite of what you're seeking. The revelation that transformed my entire understanding was recognizing that true overflow comes through honest communion with divine forces, not through memorized formulas or desperate pleas. Think about your most meaningful human relationships. They're built on authenticity and genuine connection, not manipulation or performance. Your relationship with spiritual forces operates on the same principle of resonance between authentic energies. Behind the scenes of effective manifestation, this authenticity creates a coherent vibrational frequency that divine intelligence recognizes and responds to immediately. When your declarations emerge from genuine alignment rather than desperate performance, you create clear channels through which abundance naturally flows. This isn't about perfection. It's about congruence between your words and your authentic feeling state. The mindset breakthrough comes when you realize you don't need to force artificial positivity or pretend challenges don't exist. You simply need to find declarations that genuinely feel possible from your current vantage point. This honest starting place creates the foundation for progressive expansion rather than perpetual frustration from trying to believe what feels impossible. Building spiritual confidence requires this progressive approach, starting with small victories before attempting major manifestations. Think of it like physical training. You wouldn't begin a fitness journey by attempting to lift 300 pounds. You'd start with weights you can manage successfully, gradually building strength through progressive challenges. The journey of transformation reveals this hidden wisdom. Prayer mastery develops through progressive levels of manifestation, each success building confidence for greater overflow. Each authentic declaration that manifests visible results becomes evidence that strengthens your belief system, expanding your capacity to embrace larger possibilities. This understanding transforms spiritual practice from perpetual striving into strategic progression. Instead of constantly reaching for manifestations that feel impossible from your current belief system, focus on declarations that stretch you slightly beyond your comfort zone, while remaining within the realm of possibility. These modest successes create the foundation for quantum leaps in consciousness. The revelation that changed everything in my practice was recognizing that spiritual development follows the same progressive pattern as any other skill acquisition. Mastery emerges through consistent practice that creates incremental expansion rather than frustrated attempts at quantum leaps. Each small victory recalibrates your perception of what's possible, gradually expanding your capacity to receive greater abundance. Behind the scenes of visible transformation, this progressive approach creates a virtuous cycle of expanding belief. Each manifestation becomes evidence that strengthens your faith, allowing you to embrace slightly larger possibilities with each successful experience. This evidence-based approach creates sustainable expansion rather than temporary motivation followed by crushing disappointment. Now, as we explore how to apply these declaration principles to specific life areas like finances, relationships, and health, I'm curious. What small declaration victory would build your spiritual confidence most effectively right now? Comment, starting point. If you're recognizing the power of beginning with what genuinely feels possible in this moment. Now let me reveal the profound shift that occurs when you master the I choose declaration. The most transformative realization in my own journey was understanding that choosing your response to circumstances, rather than simply reacting to them, reclaims your spiritual authority over seemingly random events. This single mind shift fundamentally alters your relationship with reality itself. Think about the revolutionary perspective this creates. Most people experience life as something happening to them, a series of uncontrollable circumstances they must simply endure. But sovereignty prayers transform you from passive recipient to active co-creator, establishing a conscious partnership with divine forces to shape your reality. This isn't about controlling external events. It's about controlling your interpretation of them, which determines their impact on your consciousness. Behind the scenes of your visible experience, these I choose declarations interrupt the automatic programming that typically governs human response patterns. When challenging circumstances arise, most people unconsciously declare victimhood. Why does this always happen to me? Or, I never catch a break. These declarations essentially surrender your creative power to external conditions, positioning you as helpless against life's currents. The mindset breakthrough comes when you recognize that external circumstances don't determine your experience. Your chosen response to them does. This sovereignty isn't about denying reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about consciously declaring your interpretation of those challenges, which determines what they ultimately mean in your life story. When you declare, I choose to see this setback as redirection towards something better rather than, I'm just unlucky, you fundamentally alter the vibrational frequency of your experience. This shift in declaration pattern doesn't just change your perception, it literally creates new neural pathways that transform how your brain processes reality. The revelation that transformed my entire approach to manifestation was understanding that combining responsibility with proper prayer language creates the most powerful formula for divine partnership. When you merge spiritual accountability with precise declaration, you activate the highest level of co-creative power available to humanity. Think of it as the difference between being a passenger in someone else's vehicle versus taking the driver's seat in your own. Both will experience the same road conditions, but only one determines the direction, speed, and ultimate destination of the journey. Your I choose declarations essentially place you in the driver's seat of your life experience, establishing conscious partnership with divine navigation. The journey toward mastery reveals this hidden truth. The universe responds with extraordinary power to those who take ownership of their experience rather than delegating it to external forces. When you declare, I choose how I respond to this situation, rather than this situation is controlling me, you signal to divine intelligence that you're ready for co-creative partnership rather than dependent rescue. This sovereignty approach creates a fundamental shift in your spiritual relationship, from child seeking protection to mature co-creator participating in conscious evolution. The universe recognizes this spiritual maturity and responds with expanded manifestation capacity, opening pathways that remain closed to those who position themselves as helpless victims. Now, as we explore the specific 7-day implementation framework that combines all 3 declaration patterns, I'm curious, what circumstance in your life would be most transformed by applying the I choose declaration? Comment, reclaiming my sovereignty, if you're ready to transform your relationship with challenging situations through conscious choice. You know, after sharing these 3 powerful prayer phrases with you, I realize something remarkable has happened. We've moved beyond just learning spiritual techniques. We've established a genuine connection around these transformative truths. The universe operates this way in every area of our lives. What we consistently declare becomes our reality. If these insights have illuminated something within you today, I'd love for you to be part of this growing community of conscious creators. Subscribe to join us on this journey of spiritual mastery. Each week, we explore another dimension of manifestation principles that most teachers never discuss. The declaration patterns we've explored today are just the beginning. There are specific applications for finances, relationships, health, and purpose that build upon these fundamental principles. When you apply these declarations consistently, your perception literally shifts to recognize the abundance that's been waiting for you all along. If this message resonated in your heart, if you felt that divine nudge of recognition while watching, leave a comment with the phrase, "Divine language activated," so I know these principles found their way to someone ready to implement them. And if this approach to spiritual communication has expanded your understanding, that like button is a beautiful way to signal to the universe and the algorithm that you're ready for more insights like these. Right next to this video, you'll find another one exploring the hidden mechanics behind manifestation timing, why some declarations manifest instantly while others take longer, and how to accelerate the process. Click over there now and continue expanding your understanding of how the universe responds to your spiritual language. The overflow is waiting for those who know how to speak its sacred language.